that side. The right side has to be 0, it won't work right. So I have a 10 over here, I can't have the 10 there, so I have to subtract 10 to make it go away, which means I have to subtract 10 from here. So that gives me x squared plus 11x minus 98 equals 0. Okay, how come what? Because you have to have 0 on this side. So, Christina, be quiet. I am not going to sit here and say, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. I'm going to say detention, detention, detention. I don't care. You need 0 on the right side. So whatever's on the right side you have to get rid of. So I have to get rid of the 10 by subtracting 10. If I was completing the square, I would move the 88 over there, because that's what I need to do. When I complete the square, this has to be empty and the number goes over here. But when I use the quadratic formula, which, by the way, this is called the quadratic formula, is what's going to say on the tape. In that case, this has to be 0, so I have to move this one over here. So, now I need A, B, and C. What's A? 1. A is 1. It's the number in front of x squared. 1. What's B? And what's C? And some of these you have to use calculators on. But sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. So, we're ready to start. X is equal to the opposite of B. B is 11, positive. The opposite of a positive 11 is a negative 11. Plus and minus the square root of B squared, square B. Taking 11 times 11. And that's 121. Minus 4. So I just put minus 4, and then I go, it says AC. So I take A times C. So that is a negative 98. I multiply. It's AC. A times C. Right now, I write down negative 98. Then I go to the bottom. All I do is write the numbers in. Now, I square this as I do it. I multiply A times C to get that number, and I just go to the bottom and do 2A. What's 2A? 2 times 1 is 2. Can't do all of this at once, so I get them all written in. I do a couple of simple things to shorten this a little bit, and then I go back and do inside. So this is 121, and it's negative times negative is positive, and 98 times 4 is 392. They're both positive, so I add them together. I get 3, 9, 10, 11, 3, 4, and 5. So I get a square root of 513. And I write my answer. X is equal to negative 11 plus and minus the square root of 513 all over 2. And we're done. Okay? Anybody got a question? They're all done exactly the same. Here's the things that people ask me about. You know, what do I do with this negative B? It's the opposite of B. When you take your B, look at it. What's the opposite of this number? Now, it's the same number, you take the other sign. That's what it amounts to that goes here. If this is plus, this is minus. If this is a minus, that one's going to be a plus. Multiply A times C. Multiply 2 times A. Make sure you do your signs right here. Some of these will have a negative in them, right? If you have one with a negative inside the radical, that becomes the I. That's when you put an I out there. That's when you poke your eye out. Okay. Question? 17. Okay? Do I have to change the form? No. Everything's on the left side in descending order. Zero's on the right. We're ready to go. A, B, and C. What's A? 8. What's B? Negative 18. And what's C? Negative 5. That's equal. The opposite of B. Positive, this is negative 18. The opposite of negative 18 is positive 18. Plus and minus the square root of B squared, or 18 squared. What's 18 squared? 324? 324 minus 4, and then 8 times 5 is a negative 40. Then I go and do 2a. 2 times a is 16. I don't worry about trying to do the problem. I'm just trying to set the problem up with the numbers. Now I go back and say, what can I do in here? Well, this is 324, and this is a negative times a negative, right? What's a negative times a negative? Positive, so they're gone. And 4 times 40, positive 160. Add them, I get 484. Now, you might want to double check and make sure that's not a perfect square. I don't think it is. Huh? How can you find out whether it's a perfect square? Get square root, find your calculator, find square root, hit it, put in 484, hit enter. If it comes out with decimals, you're done. If it comes out even, you got a perfect square. Is it 22? Yeah. The signs. That's a negative and that's a negative. What's a negative times a negative? Positive. That's positive. If this is always a negative. If this was a positive, then it's a negative. That's all it tells you exactly what to put there. And then you do whatever it says. I don't care. So? No, not done. If this is a perfect square, if this is not a perfect square, you rewrite it, you're done. But if it's a perfect square, you rewrite it with the new number in. So, since it's a perfect square, this becomes x. It becomes 18 plus and minus. What's the square root of 484? 22 over 16. Can I keep going? Yeah. Sure. I can take 18 plus 22. So 18 plus 22 is 40 over 16. What goes into 40 and 16? 8. 8 goes into 45 times. 8 goes into 16 twice. There's one of my answers. What else do I do? 18 minus 22. What's 18 minus 22? Negative 4. 18 to 22 is 4. Over 16, which reduces down to
1/4.
negative 1/4. And there's our answer. If this is actually a perfect square, you change it to the square root, and then you can keep going. You can actually get numbers.
Okay.
On this one, it's 513, which is not a perfect square. And so we're done. We're just going to leave it like this and stop. Okay?
I have a question.
How do you find out whether they're perfect squares? With the square root of 513 in your calculator, hit enter, and see if it comes out even. If you have decimals, don't worry about it. We're done with it. Rewrite the answer in your face. Yes. I'm working on this one. I'm not taking questions yet. exactly the same way. There's really not any difference. I'm going to do this one real quick because we're going to run out of time.
We're running out of time. Right there.
A, B, C. You're talking. There's my numbers. X equals the opposite of B, which is negative 13, plus and minus the square root of 13 squared is 169, I think. Minus 4. 2 times 6 is 12. 2a is 4. This is 169. There's only one negative, so it's minus. 4 times 12 is 48. Subtract. I get 121. And what's the square root of 121?
11.
It's 11. Square root of 121 is a perfect square. So I have a negative 13 plus and minus square root of 121, which is 11 over 4. What's a negative 13 plus 11? Negative 2 over 4 is a negative 1/2. A negative 13 and a negative 11, negative 24, right? Over 4,
6.
which is negative 6.
You have that square.
Excuse me?
That sign.
Yeah, because I didn't really talk, I just did the problem.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same as the other one.
Yep.
The only difference that's come in on any of these is if we have a perfect square, we actually go farther than if we don't have a perfect square. And most of these numbers, you won't know whether they're perfect squares, so you just have to put them in your calculator to find out. And check them. Question on this? Okay?